ahead, start this.
I'll take Mr. Art the Clown off of here and talk about another clown. So we just got out of uh, Joker, Folie, Deux, or I don't know how to
Part 2.
exactly pronounce. Yeah.
Joker Part 2. All right. So, initial thoughts?
I think people need to know that. So I think some were surprised, and I think even from some early headlines I saw, I tried not to hear any reviews because I wanted to have it very fresh-minded or whatever. And but it is a musical, and I think a lot of people they had even since they announced it. I remember thinking like, "What, a musical?" And I think people forgot. And yeah, it's a musical, and
It's a musical.
take it as you will. But I I still enjoyed it. I still think it was still in the style of the first one. It kind of still touched on a lot of the same themes of the first one, which is what I had liked. But I did think it was like the musical part. I think even it made fun of itself, and even like just how people just burst into song in musicals, and like you could see some of the reactions from the people around when somebody was kind of like busting out into song, kind of like, what the hell is this guy doing or whatever. And I thought that was kind of funny. And even towards one of the parts, like, just talk to me, don't like, don't sing or whatever. But I thought that was great.
I did not expect it to be a musical. And because I didn't have that expectation, I was extremely disappointed that it was a musical. I hate watching musicals. Except they did a really good job. Like, it's a really good musical. But I do wish I would have known that it was a musical. I had read one review and it was like, how dare they call this a musical kind of thing. And then I guess I should have taken it more into consideration because it absolutely 100% is a musical. There were definitely more musical scenes than anything. The music that they do sing is really cool, and Lady Gaga, her voice is phenomenal. Um, and I know that uh, Joaquin Phoenix is famous for his music stuff also, but it was raw and awesome to hear. It was really cool to hear both of them together, but I didn't know that it was a musical, and I was disappointed that it was a musical. I didn't fall asleep though, which was
I
good.
fell asleep a few times here and there when the musical numbers ran a little long, but it wasn't anything to like I didn't miss a whole scene or anything. It was still like in the same song or whatnot. But a lot of the music was like well, I enjoyed the music, the playlist of it. Like they were all stuff from our fall playlist and stuff like that. So it's like it was cool, like the Sinatra and Nat King Cole and Ella Fitzgerald and all that type of stuff.
Oh yeah,
Carpenters, yeah. It was.
The music's awesome. Great.
Yeah,
it really is. But you need to go in with the mindset of it's gonna be like Chicago.
I would say that crazy.
Oh no, there were definitely tons of
there was still, I thought, only a few scenes where they were actually like singing and like in person or like where
right. A lot of them were
kind of his
crazy moments.
Yeah, like where he's just kind of picturing going off into La La Land and like thinking that this is happening, and you can kind of tell in the trailer like why else would this be happening for real, kind of. Which is fine, but it did still touch on a lot of like the mental health stuff, and they were trying to play it off as the Joker being or a split personality thing, and I really enjoy the. I think it still touches on how our society works right now, in the sense that like how a criminal can get such a group of people moved like so much to like, and like that's pretty much what's kind of going on right now. Like love it or hate it, like in this sense, like I'm a biased fan of the Joker and whatever, and I'm kind of like, yeah, go Joker or whatever, and you can see how that can translate into what's going on in politics right now. And I don't think it's unmerited, I guess. Like it's well, at least in this sense, it was just people tired. Like this is almost their protest as to like, well, what the hell else am I supposed to do? Like you want me to go through the system? The system sucks. Like the system has to change. This is what I'm going to do, and this is like, then I have to break a few rules to get there, and this is what's kind of getting people motivated to do something. It's like the last lack or like the
The last
last
straw.
bit of hopelessness, or like before it like you are really totally hopeless or whatever. And I still enjoy that. Like I don't know, like what else are people supposed to do? And it just seems that we all do want just a little bit of peace, but some have it a little bit easier than others. And so how do we all get it to work out for everyone?
I I just keep thinking about the the ending. The ending has to be one of the best endings that I've seen in almost any movie. It's just extremely powerful. I loved it.
I'll have to. I don't want to do a spoiler because
No,
it's
no,
too
no.
new, but I'll have to ask you about that one later. Exactly what part of
Oh,
the
okay.
only part as the ending, more as a Batman fan, I didn't like, but
Why?
as a well, because
Oof. Okay, we
it's as
can't
a
talk
Batman
about it.
fan, yeah. But it's I don't think it's just a like a little nitpickiness over like a Batman
Oh, I
fandom or
can't wait.
whatever.
I can't wait to talk about it because I
But
thought that was so good. Um, I I loved the story and the writing was incredible. Um, man, and him as his character, he does such a great job too of reeling you in and making you feel sorry for him, right? But also, as a Batman fan, I understood too much of him.
and at the same time, it's still excuse me. Oh, I guess we always have this internal struggle. To me, it kind of reminded me a little bit of like I don't want to say, well, maybe a little bit of cancel culture, in the sense that like it almost feels like people can't be themselves, and sometimes I understand some like if you're doing terrible things and whatever, you not that you can't be yourself or whatnot, but just kind of own up to it. And I think he was willing to own up to it, but then they were trying to make him seem like no, it wasn't you that did it, it was your. And I think that just kind of takes people's authenticity away, and like that's what makes people feel even more like suppressed. Like why I can't even talk about the things I actually want to talk about or whatever, because then I'm being disrespectful to one group versus another. But I want to know how Todd Phillips or whoever wrote this and the first one, they got a super good grasp on what society is right now. It's awesome the way they've written it.
It's really sad. It's really sad the way that, like, once it's portrayed and once you're seeing how it truly can be for a lot of people, it's I don't know. It makes you want to check yourself. Like, I think that to check yourself, like, how do you make other people feel about what you're saying?
Right. And I've thought this a lot too, that a lot of our problems aren't like we're wanting to treat this as the problem or whatever, but these are all just symptoms. And if we're not getting to the actual root as to what is causing people to act in certain ways, then we're just going to keep putting band-aids on everything, and we're just bandaged up like mummy, but it's still underneath, it's still like a mess.
And that's the whole thing with Arkham, right? Like with Arkham Asylum and whatnot. Like you end up realizing how corrupt it is as well.
Right, yeah, then that was, well, that's, I guess, with all of Gotham, like you start realizing the corruption with the cops and stuff, and like how many people take their positions of power to a personal level. Like things should be kept kind of separate. This isn't a personal thing. You do your part in the system, and that's what it is.
I think I have a flat tire or something. No.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it was very good
Anything
for a
else?
musical.
Yeah, I partially do like that it's a musical, because now whenever people say what's your
What's your
favorite
favorite musical?
musical,
Joker
I
Part
can
2.
say this, and it's Batman themed or related or whatever. Like, yeah.
Damn musicals. And I can say that, guys. I'm a musical theater major. I did musicals. But I don't like watching them.
Right. Never been
And but it was I think that the amount that they went through in there, like the amount of musical renditions that were happening in Joker's head were so immense that it does drive you crazy. Like it was showing his craziness, his like, I can't take this anymore. It's
Yeah.
exhausting.
Right.
And I think that they did a really great job of showing or making you feel exhausted with all of the, oh, here it comes again. And you're like, oh, here's what it's going to happen. And it doesn't happen. And you're like, oh, whew, okay. Like some kind of relief in it. Right. And I don't know if they did that on purpose. They probably did. But it was so exhausting to be in his brain for so long. Then when you are out of the brain, it's like, oh, sweet relief. So I can imagine that he found slash felt relief when he was uh, not hearing things and not experiencing all of the rest of his chaos.
Right. And I guess that's part of the part I see that, like, it felt, I feel like he felt relief when he was Joker, because it was finally, like you said, like people finally see me, and he mentioned that in the first one, like nobody cared who I was as Arthur Fleck, and now people care as Joker. But that's who he is himself, and like, but people all societal around, like no, you can't be yourself. You have to be this person, and the nice, calm pushover Arthur Fleck or whatever. Even though like your life sucks as it, like that's who we all want you to be or whatever. And there was the other side that's like, no, be yourself, and like let's change some things. Let's change some things around. I can see the appeal of chaos as to like why people would do it. Like if you're stuck in the same thing, it's almost just like a wild card, literally. Like all right, well things have been the same all this time. Then maybe if I do something outrageously different, I'll get an outrageously different outcome, and
Oh,
maybe something that'll work out better.
and I wonder if those were on purpose. Well, he definitely had a whole bunch of trauma, and you know that from the first one, right? Like when
Yeah.
you read his paperwork and stuff. But no, I don't really have a lot more to say without spoiling things,
Right.
so I don't want to. It's definitely theater worthy. Uh,
Just remember it's a musical.
but it's a musical. It is worthy to go and see in the theater, even though it's a musical. Um, yeah,
They cannot let Lady Gaga use her pipes. So
go on for a few songs.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I still think it was
They
awesome.
could have given her. They could have given her a little more.
Maybe, but I think that's why
But
she had the end credit song.
and he did too. The last
true.
one that he sang too is really cool.
Yeah.
I would like to hear more of that. I want to like actually listen to the soundtrack and whatnot. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say without spoiling. But the end was, to me, I loved it, and that it made it worth sitting through all of the songs.
All right. Well, until next one.
Bye. How do you stop this one? I don't even
know. Just the X on top left.